Okay, we are recording. Everybody good? We'll go ahead and get started. Well, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, I guess, then. Appreciate you all working it out to make today happen. I think we've only got a couple things on the agenda. We don't need to discuss minutes or anything at this one, correct? Okay. So we'll go ahead and call, start off with the first thing here that's on the agenda, which is establishing the tax rates for the 2025-26 tax year. Jade or Rita, or
I can start.
okay.
So I sent an email to everybody where I just sent examples, and this is just, I'm not trying to sway anybody, I'm just sending examples. And I've printed copies of them for everybody again today. So you got a sheet with 3 boxes. The first top sheet comparing last year's, if you just put in last year's rate, that compares it to compensating rate, compensating plus 4% rate for this year. And then the bottom box is last year's rate. Using last year's rate on this assessment gives you a projected revenue of 2.665. Second sheet is using last year's real property and having the compensating personal property rate. You see that at the bottom. So the real property at 0.086, personal property at 0.0986, which is half of the compensated personal property rate. That gives you a projected revenue of 2.321. That lowers it about 340,000. And then the very last one is just going down low, having a real property rate of 0.080. And personal property, again, half of the compensating rate personal property tax. That gives you a projected revenue of 2.185. So that's just kind of 3 examples. Kind of what happens when you change. If you change real property a little bit, it changes the end result a lot, because you're talking about bigger numbers. You can change that personal property rate quite a bit and not affect it by very much. Last year's budget, or the budget I presented that we're under right now, projected income of 2.622, with expected expenses of 1.9. So roughly, our budget the last couple of years, expense wise, has been around that $2 million mark. We've not spent that much. Like the last fiscal year, our expenditures were 1.66. So it fell short of that 2 million. And our revenue, we gained off of 278,000 above what we budgeted. We budgeted 2.5 and we ended up with 2.8.
Was what we brought in.
Was what we brought in, yes.
And the budget numbers that you read off there, so this year we're looking at adding in another 4-H agent, correct?
Correct.
That would be on this year's budget.
It is in this year's, it's already in the budget.
Right, right. But I'm just saying, like, last year, we were hiring a couple other positions last year, we didn't get filled until partway through the calendar year, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would that account for some of the overage that we had on the budget? Or not overage, but under usage of the budget, would that account for some of that?
No, yes and no, because part of the agent expense is in the money that we send to UK. So we already had to spend that to UK
For the full year, even though.
for the full year. And we just received the final accounting, we received a refund, we're gonna receive a refund of $151,000 that we oversent to UK. Because Caitlin and I were only part year. We had to send them the full year, calculate the full year, we were only here part of the year.
Right, okay.
So they're gonna send us $151,000 back.
So that's how it works, okay.
Previous year was about 38.
That's one of them.
Yeah, okay, that's usually what you get. We don't budget for any of that come back. That's just small.
That's it. So we usually were carrying over about $1 million the last 5 years.
That's what a lot of it is.
Our income is 2,675. Our expenses were 166. We operated the program here on 62% of our income. We banked 38% of our income.
Would be correct. And we have $5 million. I want to say cash, basically, liquid assets on hand.
So the difference in the income last year at 8.6 and dropping that to 8.8 carries a difference of $480,000.
Now, say that again.
Front page bottom, total revenue, represented from 2,665. On the back page, proposed 8.0, revenue 2185.
Yes, yes, there you go.
So you lose $480,000, half of that million
Yeah.
going to 8%.
All right.
But their tax base grew by $139 million. That's not calculated in this. That's another $112,000.
Like if everything followed last year's, with this kind of year's budget, we would have 1.22 billion this year. So based on what's in it right now. Last year you had 1.17 billion.
I want the district to help. I want you to grow the area. Man, I need to see go in the newspaper. That would make it out there.
I mean, you want me, I've got the calculator set up if you want to plug in different numbers.
That's just a blank, that's a blank.
Yeah, the bottom one, so you got the compensating plus 4. The bottom one, I can plug in numbers and it'll give us a total. So if you wanna play with numbers between anywhere on
And if I make sure I understand correctly, so the number that's in there for real property values, there's our tax base, that number's gonna increase again this year, is that you were saying, Dan? Okay.
139,000.
Okay.
if anyone besides me like that last 8.0, that also cuts the personal property rate about in half.
I was looking at these numbers, what time is that? I mean,
Very last page, on. Page below is on.
the 2.1, okay, you want, yeah. Yeah.
That takes away about $400,000 for the year.
You have to-
What's the number, what was our total budget projected for the coming year?
Some years you were, right now you're clearing 615,000, if everything followed last year, based on what we, went under on the expenses, you come out at 1.22 million.
That would be over, or that would be underutilized?
Yeah, right now you're gonna gain 615,000 without any changes whatsoever.
Okay.
So if you did the last option, took away 400,000, you leave about 200,000 behind. If none of the rest has occurred. Now, I can't guarantee last year's gonna repeat, so, because we didn't win under last year, but.
Yeah.
I was already working part of that back again.
We did turn the budget quite a bit as well, didn't we, this year?
You trim some of it,
Yeah. And some of those underutilized areas.
yeah, and some of them are always gonna be underutilized, like the travel professional crews are always there, never fully utilized. You always have excess of that, and then the interest every year, we don't budget for, so that's when we excess. The payment back to UK every year is excess. As far as I know, rental income's excess, we pay a lot, so that's a. So,
I know when we're talking, a lot of those line items were under budget.
Hmm.
So,
yeah, I think pretty much every one of them are, if I remember.
And with the projected behavior figures, I saw that there was some discussion about replacing the roof, is that right, or replacing a piece of the roof?
yeah,
So we've got, was that factored into the budget as well?
Right now, for building construction, you have 10,000, building improvements, you have 50,000. I think that's 30, I think the roof's 30.
Yeah, maybe she didn't leave on the motor vehicle, water there.
Yeah.
In this last rate, do we go to zero on that?
You can have that. one.
Do we, there's not anything in the square there was there is in the third. For the motor vehicle, line 37.
You don't have a tax rate.
Yeah, we've never asked for a motor vehicle tax.
Yeah. Page two.
there's some things that are detached,
You have to put
and
that.
they exempt that.
You have to put motor vehicle.
Oh, I was.
Oh, wait a minute, yes, yeah, there it is, 1 point, I'm sorry. Yeah. So that was, yeah,
That
yeah, I didn't bring it down, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Mine
So like
was
inventories and transit and stuff like that, there's-
1, 3,
Yeah.
there we go. There we go. That adds 37,000. There you go. Thank you.
There's February.
I'm not trying to sway you guys anywhere at all, just thinking in the future, like if you all want to add another agent position or something like that, just keeping those things in mind too, as we move through the day.
I already did myself over that pretty good while too. Last Monday, we asked Gary to put together a dream team. Somebody come up with a plan. And I think if we went below 8.2, that would probably create more an obstacle, make it more difficult to increase in the future. But I think if we stop at 8.0, and next year we need to raise it to 8.9, nobody's really gonna raise it now.
And last year we were, where were we at last year, 8.6?
8.6,
That's what we were last year, yeah.
I think we dropped to 200 last year on 400, okay.
This is
On a real property.
9.2, is that what it was on real?
9.0,
Or 9.0?
9.0, like 8.
And versus property was 21. But you
Dropped it from.
Can we just see what real property would be at 8.2? Since we dropped it. That. Just plain numbers.
$2.264.
This will be dropping it, but not dropping it to 8.0, correct? Right.
Yeah, so right here. That gains you just a little under 100,000. Anybody else want to plug in another number and look at it?
So we've got how much total in CDs, investments like that?
For a little over 5. I mean, well, counting CDs and checking account, all that's a little over 5 million.
I mean, if we drop it down to the 8. We've got some other extra money and for some unforeseen reason. You know, that we can get to fairly easily. It wouldn't hurt.
You got 2 million in the main checking account.
2.2.
Successful like that, and you have 1.5 million in the money market, which can be there more or less tomorrow, very accessible.
We can't have a second account, we can't have one of the year. Is it like a year, some of our percentage budget operating.
Reserves.
Because you're looking at
Actually,
leaving a van, another van, you have to put in next year, soon,
More of that.
and
To a CD.
and four-wheeler.
The van is, the added van, I think was 2 years down the road.
I don't think you're gonna make it. I'm sorry, I just, with the stuff, homemakers and the 4-H from, I don't think you're gonna make it, because you're running out often.
That's another 50,000, so. I mean,
Right, I'm
that's-
just,
yeah,
that's,
Yeah,
I'm just thinking of the purchases that are gonna be paid next year.
Actually, a good bit of 23 days.
We have a budget for that. You have 25,000 for vehicle purchase, which is about 12 will be for 4-H club.
Yeah.
You got about 12,000 there, and then building construction, you got 10, which I don't think we're constructing anything else, but then building construction, you got 50. You got 60 there for the building.
For the 12 is already on the list, it's on the same. Purchasing the secondary, 15 has to remain. I agree in cutting it some ways and how much to cut it. That's where I say.
I agree with that. I like 8.0, I mean, if, and I don't want to swing my thoughts, but my own concern is if we do need more down the road. Do you think that there'll be issues if we do need to come back and
My concern.
raise it a 0.5% or 1% for something we don't foresee today?
Back when we were planning construction and doing construction, there were, I'm gonna have me out at least 2 or 3 years, and we went ahead and took the 4% rate increase, and nothing was ever said. Preparing for the okay, fiscal court never questioned us on it, wasn't any problem at all. I think the fellow gets very supportive of our district.
Yes.
I won't keep it.
Right. Do I have a? Want to make a motion? I mean, we've had discussion. I don't want to belabor it. If there's any other discussion, we'll do it, but is there a motion wants to be made?
I was saying, I don't have any problem with any number on here.
Can we go backwards? Can we go to 181 and call it even?
Make a motion.
That's my
Okay, I mean, I see 82, they see 8, and we do 81.
Ken, motions.
Hold on, let's just look at the numbers. Let's just look at the numbers, we're still playing numbers.
2.24.
He's about $24,000.
Go back and show us the 8.0, Jake.
Was that 8.0?
It's
Yes.
21. 21.8.
Well, that was without
Oh, yeah.
the vehicle. It was 2.2.
2.2 basically.
Yeah.
The other one was 2 point,
So 2.2, 2.22 versus. $2.42.
Talking about $30,000 difference. Not quite.
About what a van's worth.
Yeah.
Huge van.
That's about what it should be.
That's a huge van. That might be used as.
If we didn't have all that extra money in the bank that's kind of readily available, I would be with you on the 8.1, but if we can go to 8.0.
I just don't want to cut
too deep.
too deep, and then if we go back and need it more. This is my thought.
Yeah, I
If
understand.
we cut and then we go to raise it, they're like, well, why didn't y'all just keep it, why didn't y'all just keep 8.1 last year? Or 8.2 last year? That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to say that because the budget's year to year.
Right.
And it's just. It's a guess,
It's a guesstimate.
yeah, it's a guess, so I don't really see that.
Okay.
So I think what the public's gonna see is this compensating rate. And then anything you set below that
Right.
is gonna be a plus.
Because you're basically cutting it up to 1%.
Yeah, because the compensating rate will stay about the same for next
But actually, when the compensating rate actually went up then, right? We were at 0.92.
year.
It's at
Yeah.
9.4.
But you all.
Right, to 86. Yeah. I didn't realize that compensating rate went up this year from last year.
So we lowered it 0.06 last year, right?
From 0.086
0.08.
Yeah.
from 9.
So this would be basically taking the same, lowering it, the same as we did last year. I know those numbers change because your property valuations go up. But my statement, I'll just be tickled to death to see a tax break anywhere. As much as we can do, you know, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, what I
But I understand what you're saying also.
I think if we're, the only concern that I have with dropping it all the way to 8 even is that we have now set a precedent that we are able to drop significantly every year. And moving forward, we may not be able to continue that precedent. And I don't want that to then be the thing that turns on us and everybody not understand that property and plot concept. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand it also too, but also they gotta really, well, then what we've gotta do is make sure the public knows that our needs have changed. And folks, I'm sorry, the cost of business is just a whole lot higher.
Here's the number right here. That people pay attention to versus this up here. This on the surface, but then this number right here is looked at, that final number.
And so what was the difference, Mark, between that number in our projected budget?
About 200 or 330,000. About 330,000, that takes your excess from 615 down to 285,000.
Okay,
That's without the UK add back and the interest, all that other stuff.
And that's 8-1, not 8.
Yeah, that's gonna cut your carryover to about half.
From that 8.6. So,
That's at 8-1, not 8.
so there's still possibility of money being there. It's not always saying it would be, but there's possibility for some that 285,000 will cover, I would think, about anything that we would see in the budget.
Yeah, in case it might not do using last year.
Yeah, and we're using last year's tax base too, so that can go up some too.
The only thing we haven't mentioned, and this is totally catastrophizing as a therapist, but we are seeing very significant increases in weather damage. And it's only a matter of time until our property gets good with that. You know, across the board, so there may be unexpected large scale repairs in the future in that regard too. And I'm not talking just tornadoes. Like our winter was one for us too this year, so. Again, catastrophizing, but it is something to keep in mind. Insurance would cover things, but we all know insurance doesn't cover everything.
what's our deductible for this facility? Does anybody know that?
The what?
The deductible, insurance deductible?
We are.
I think it's $1,000 per occurrence.
Okay,
We did, this past year, we did a revaluation of the property. We were way underinsured, way underinsured. And, so I got with Keiko and I got with I went with Garland Banner, called Garland to see kind of what replacement would be for a building like this. And he gave me some numbers. And that's kind of the point that we came up to. We were, I gave him what we had a value at, he just kind of laughed, he said, oh, he said, I can't even think about it, doing something like that. Okay. So we're insured for our current value right now. Okay. Now, that was back in March, right before tornado season, they said, well, you want to wait till July? I said, no. So they're 0.81, 0.081, excuse me. There's two. So from 242 to 260 or 264.
about 30,000, a tenth of a percent. Right.
Yeah, about 10,000 per point.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion that we go to, real property at 0.08. And keep the rest of them as we have on that slide.
So that would be, so personal property would also be a change, right? From where we are today.
Personal property is half of what the compensating rate is. Proposed compensating rate of this year.
And last year we had,
It's not.
0.1973.
huh,
Personal property was 0.1973.
We have it currently at 20,
0.0986.
sorry,
so will that be your motion too, then, Barry?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that's slide.
Everything on that,
And the watercraft
Yes.
at 0.0130.
those are the three numbers we've got to capture today, right?
Yes.
Okay.
give me a second to make sure I have that checked in properly because that's important. I mean, everything's important.
I'm sure.
No, I need to get my phone back.
What's that?
Okay, so varied oceans real property to be set at 0.080, personal property at 0.0987, and motor vehicle.
No, 86.
See, look, this is what I'm reading out loud. And motor vehicle watercraft at 0.0130.
Correct. That was seconded by Mr. Lake.
I am going to recuse myself from the vote, being the head of another taxing district. I don't think it's ethical for me to vote on the taxing.
We've got a motion that's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on the motion before we vote?
I hate voting. It's stressful.
All right, well, seeing no discussion, I'll ask for those in favor of the motion, which to restate it one more time, would be to set the real property at 8%, personal property at 9.86%, and the motor vehicle watercraft at 1.3%. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you all.
Good job.
Yeah.
Have to talk about it anymore. We love it well, since most of us, we are presenting that.
There, I'll put it this way.
No, that didn't work.
Well, maybe.
Optional taxes, what is that?
Yeah.
Those are the.
Oh. Sorry, I can't hear, sorry.
The three that are listed there, the aircraft, inventory and transport, AV, documented, non-conducted, what, you all think now, I would like to do, if you want to take any of those, or none of those.
Then we get Ron's total. So just while we're on the proper procedures here, so we have voted on the real property, personal property, and motor vehicle property. In the past, if I understand it correctly, there are 3 optional tax rates that we could elect to exercise. One would be aircraft, one would be documented watercraft, non-Kentucky registered watercraft, and then one would be in transit inventory. We just need a motion to be reflected in the minutes. Do you all want to continue to leave that at 0, or do you want to change something?
Non-Kentucky watercraft, what is that? What's that? What's the, what is that, what's that definition? If it's non-documented, they're in our waterways. You need to put it in. I'm sorry.
You can take it. What do you pull up? I got it.
What's the assessment?
It's assessed to, personal property rate.
Personal property.
Yeah, all of those optional taxes are at personal.
But I mean, how is it?
How much is the assessment?
How much is it? I don't know. They don't tell me. We gotta do that.
We gotta put it in. Sorry.
That would just be the using the waterways in our. Like, counties.
But will that be used waterways in our county, or would that be people?
That's why I'm asking for
Yeah.
that definition of.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Federally documented vessels not used in a business of transporting persons or property for compensation or hire or for other commercial purposes. Documented not.
Would that be Coast Guard?
Federally documented vessels not used in the business of transporting persons or property for compensation or hire or for other commercial purposes.
So not just for sport.
I'll bring
I
it up.
don't think. It's even more. I don't think it's even public.
Yeah. That's farm portion.
Watch.
Would that be like Fish and Wildlife?
We don't have anything about that.
Yeah.
That's fine, I'm trying to think who that would be.
Fish and Wildlife don't transport that way.
A boat that has a federal certificate of documentation issued by the U.S. Coast Guard or the United States.
So you could
The
put
state box
wild.
typically around 25 feet or larger to qualify for documentation.
What is that? I'm looking for a while, maybe we can come down and be. I'm sorry.
I would expect it said.
No.
Because I'm be going,
It would have to be documented.
You're gonna have to stand at the bridge at Cincinnati for the bucket and say donation.
I'll volunteer my services.
So
So I'll
I
just
would,
leave those as this.
I just need a definition.
no, that's fine. So I just need a motion that we can vote on that.
I motion,
Okay,
motion, you second,
First,
third,
Okay.
so categories of, can you repeat them more?
so first category is aircraft. Second category is documented watercraft. And the third is in transit inventory.
If anything,
So
I'm thinking
it's-
about aircraft,
Cause it says non.
aircraft not used in the business of.
I don't hear it.
You don't.
So there's not that many.
Aircraft.
oh,
There's an aircraft.
You're not talking big number.
well, I mean, but still, we don't have.
We do have the airport.
Okay, so we've got a motion
Okay.
that's been made by Danielle, seconded by Barry, is that right?
Okay.
To leave numbers at 0. All right, all those, any other discussion?
Do we wanna look at aircraft? Hang on.
Oh, hold on.
Thank you.
Talking to PBA, she said we do not have that here. That would be like for Taylor County, Weston County, where the big roads are.
Yes. Oh,
She did, we don't have any of that anymore.
you know, would that have been on the big houseboats?
Yes, yes,
That's what I thought.
that's what she meant.
Because I know Kentucky was up in there because they were losing tax revenue.
Yeah.
People was buying licensing or whatever, you know, buy.
Yes, that's basically what
And
she
they
meant.
weren't paying taxes here.
So if you're
Yeah,
looking
and
at
folks
categories,
stay
we,
there.
we motion to keep those categories on.
What about aircraft? Anybody know about aircraft, kind of, you have out it for? Do we need to tackle that?
I can make a phone call and find out if we need to. That would just be personal use?
Yeah, it would be a painful tax.
Oh, we're trying to promote tourism. They might want to leave it alone.
Well, I mean,
I know one time we only had like 4, but I don't know, that's the.
Yeah, there's been a lot of growth in the aircraft community in our town because of how well our local airport does with community outreach. Or like the piloting programs and things like that, but I don't know that it's reached a level yet that we need to address it.
Maybe we research it and
I'm not sure, yeah. And yeah, I'm happy to invite the people from the airport out if we need to.
so with that discussion, I'll just put it to a vote so right now, the motion on the table is leave aircraft, documented watercraft and in-transit inventory, all tax rates at 0. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Good discussion on all fronts.
Do you remain confused on that one as well?
that's, yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm voting accurately.
I think the next item of business that's on the special call meeting for today is the appraisal.
You asked me to start an appraisal. I couldn't get a hold of Kevin Cottle. I have his number now.
Sorry, I should have gave that to you.
But I asked a friend, he sent me to Sean Cook.
Yeah, okay.
So I talked to Sean this morning and I sent him everything that JJ Harris sent me.
Didn't know he was a commercial approacher, that's good.
Him and Kevin are the only two, are the only two in town.
Okay.
If you need an outside one, Mr. Joe Ball from Garrett County is also licensed to do that.
Okay.
But, Sean is working on it. Sean told me, and I told him I couldn't get hold of Kevin. Sean's the one who gave me Kevin's number. So he said, call Kevin too. So do you want two or do you just want one? Just to kind of see.
I just have one appraisal.
Okay.
I mean, it's whatever. the rest-
So he's gonna give us two. He's gonna try and give us what this lot next to us is worth. And then property behind us unimproved. What is 89 acres behind us is. Great.
Good deal.
And I told him I need it by September 8th, and he said that should not be a problem.
So we'll have the one appraisal complete by our next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
That's all I've got.
Okay. All right, well, since that's all we have in the special call meeting, I'll just say that our next meeting, as Jay said, will be September the 8th. That's it, 6 o'clock, 5:30.
5:30 PM.
5:30.
To adjourn first, or after.
Yeah, so with that, Barry has made a motion to adjourn, is there a second? Motion made and seconded, all those in favor say aye.
I